A man walks into a pet shop and sees a parrot for only $50. Standing next to the cage, the man asks, "I wonder why he is so cheap." "Because I am defective," came the reply. "I've got no legs." A little surprised, the man asked, "Well, how do you stay on your perch?" The parrot draws him closer and whispers, "I have a big thing, you know. I just wrap it around the bar and grip tight. Go offer the owner $30 for me. He'll take it." The man walks out of the store with the parrot and takes him home. They become best of friends. They talk sports, politics, current events. The man could not be happier. One day, the man gets home from work and the parrot beckons him over with his wing. "Psst, come here. I need to talk to you." "What is it?" the man inquires. "It's about your wife," says the parrot. "Okay, what about her?" "Well, today a FedEx man knocked on the door and she answered in a skimpy black negligee." The man gasps, "What? No way." "Aye, and then they embraced in a long, passionate kiss," the parrot went on. "Holy smokes, that can't be true," the man exclaims. "Aye, it is," says the parrot. Then they went over to the couch, she undressed him, and then things started to get really steamy. "Well," the man asks, "what happened next?" "From then on, I'm not sure," confessed the parrot. "I let go of the perch." The President of France was awakened at 4 a.m. by the telephone. "Sorry to bother you at this hour, sir, but there is an emergency. I've just received word that the Durex factory in Paris has burned to the ground. It is estimated that the entire French supply of condoms will be used up by the end of the week." President Macron replies, "Oh no, the economy will never be able to cope with all those extra babies. We'll be ruined. We'll have to ship condoms in from China." His advisor says, "Bad idea. The Chinese will have a field day with this one. We'll be a laughing stock. What about the USA?" Macron agrees. "All right, I'll call President Biden and tell him we need 5 million condoms, 10 inches long and 3 inches wide. That way, they'll continue to respect us as Frenchmen." 3 days later, a delighted Macron ran out to open the first of the 10,000 boxes that had just arrived. He found it full of condoms, 10 inches long and 3 inches wide, exactly as requested, all colored with the stars and stripes of the USA, and in small writing was "Made in the USA, size small." An old, tired-looking dog wanders into a guy's yard. The guy examines the dog's collar and feels his well-fed belly and knows the dog has a home. The dog follows him into the house, goes down the hall, jumps on the couch, gets comfortable, and falls asleep. The man thinks it's rather odd, but lets him sleep. After about an hour, the dog wakes up, walks to the door, and the guy lets him out. The dog wags his tail and leaves. The next day, the dog comes back and scratches at the door. The guy opens the door, the dog comes in, goes down the hall, jumps on the couch, gets comfortable, and falls asleep again. The man lets him sleep. After about an hour, the dog wakes up, walks to the door, and the guy lets him out. The dog wags his tail and leaves. This goes on for days. The guy grows really curious, so he pins a note on the dog's collar which says, "Your dog has been taking a nap at my house every day." The next day, the dog arrives again and has a different note pinned to his collar, which says, "He lives in a home with 4 young children. He's trying to catch up on his sleep. Can I come with him tomorrow?" A man is having marital problems, so decides to see a therapist. The man says, "I don't know what to do. Every day, my wife seems to lose her temper with me for no reason. It's getting worse," he says. "I tell her that other women I work with don't act crazy the way she does, but she doesn't listen." The therapist thinks for a moment, then says, "I think I have an answer for your problem. When it seems that your wife is getting angry, just take a glass of water and start swishing it in your mouth. Just swish and swish, but don't swallow it until she either leaves the room or calms down." 2 weeks later, the man goes back to the therapist looking fresh and reborn. The man says, "You know, that was a brilliant idea. Every time my wife started berating me, I swished with water. I swished and swished, and after a few minutes, she calmed right down. How does a glass of water do that?" The therapist says, "The water itself does nothing. It's keeping your mouth shut that does the trick." 3 sophisticated Southern women sit together at a country club: Eliza, Josephine, and Isabel. Eliza says to the other 2, "You know, girls, my husband bought me the most wonderful jewelry for our anniversary, a lavish diamond necklace and some beautiful earrings." "How wonderful," Josephine says. Isabel responds, "That's nice, real nice." Josephine then says to the other 2, "Well, my husband spared no expense for our anniversary. He took us on a beautiful trip to the Bahamas." "Amazing," responds Eliza. "That's nice, real nice," Isabel says. Eliza and Josephine look to Isabel. "What did your husband get you for your anniversary?" asks Eliza. "He bought me lessons in Southern etiquette classes," Isabel says. "Etiquette classes?" Eliza says. "What did you learn there?" asks Josephine. "Well," says Isabel, "I used to say, 'I don't give a rat's ass,' but now I say, 'That's nice, real nice.'" A wealthy lawyer was riding in his limousine when he saw 2 women along the roadside eating grass. Curious, he ordered his driver to stop and he got out to investigate. He asked one woman, "Why are you eating grass?" "We don't have any money for food," the poor woman replied. "We have to eat grass." "Well then, you can come with me to my house and I'll feed you," the lawyer said. "But sir, I have a husband and 2 children with me. They are over there, under that tree. Bring them along," the lawyer replied. Turning to the other poor woman, he said, "You can come with us also." The second woman, in a pitiful voice, then said, "But sir, I also have a husband and 3 children with me." "Bring them as well," the lawyer answered. They all entered the car, which was no easy task, even for a car as large as the limousine. Once underway, one of the poor fellows turned to the lawyer and said, "Sir, you are too kind. Thank you for taking all of us with you." The lawyer replied, "Glad to do it. You'll really love my place. The grass is almost a foot tall." One Sunday morning in December, the pastor slowly made his way to the rural church in the middle of a blizzard, arriving with just 5 minutes to spare. He walked in, turned on the lights, and looked around. No one else was there. As he was about to turn everything off and go back home, an old farmer walked in, covered in snow. The pastor said, "Oh, hello, Joe. Looks like nobody else could make it. I guess we won't have a service today." The old farmer looked at him for a few seconds and said, "Well, Reverend, I know I am just an old farmer, but I can tell you this. If I take a load of hay out to the field to feed my cattle and only 1 cow shows up, I still feed it." The pastor, embarrassed, said, "Of course, you are right. I will go get ready." So the pastor started the service, and being inspired by the farmer's faith and dedication, preached fervently for a full 2 hours. When the service was over, the pastor went over to the farmer and said, "So, Joe, I hope you enjoyed today's sermon." The old farmer looked at him, shook his head and said, "Reverend, if I go out to feed the cattle and only 1 cow shows up, I still feed it. But I sure don't give it the whole bloomin' load." My friends, if you want to watch other funny jokes, subscribe to the channel.